Hi everyone, this is Bic Benedict. We're playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on Master Ninja difficulty. This is Chapter 5, the Shrine Maiden's Battle. So for the most part I'm going to be doing UTs and OTs and things of that nature for Momiji's chapter. She is the shrine and this is her battle. She's trying to save the young lad in the cutscene, which I had to edit out. I'm sorry about that, but this is a very difficult chapter. All the female protagonists in this game have pretty challenging sections because they're not like Ryu. Most of them are slower, with the exception of Ayane. So once you take care of those three enemies, we're going to have three more enemies dropping down, one of which is an archer. So a lot of the times in this chapter you're going to see me take out enemies strictly with her bow and arrow. Now, the reason why you start with 2 flames in your key gauge as opposed to 3 like it is in every stage with Ryu is beyond me. I have no idea why they do it. They do it that way for every female protagonist. You start with 2 out of the 3 flames of your key gauge. You also start with 0 money. So the reason I'm shooting with the arrows is because I feel it increases the chance of you getting a Nimpo drop, and it actually does. It's very infrequent that before the first Tengu confrontation you wouldn't get a Nimpo drop somewhere along the line. Now, when I say that, I mean you have to be shooting these guys with bow and arrows. So this first fight starts right over here, so I tripped the tripwire point right there, and now I'm going to charge attacks here. The reason I'm facing away from the camera is because if I face it the other way, the bars and the platforms of this structure obscure my vision, so I can't see the enemies as well. So I really depend on the camera panning away from the character. See how my vision is obstructed right there, so I had to move it around. So after this fight, we have a very large fight with mages and these gray ninjas, and then we have the first Tengu brother fight. And in what I consider to be the biggest oversight in this game, the game does not checkpoint you at the Tengu brother fight. So you have to defeat him or you get killed, and you'll start at the beginning of the level. So let's see if I get a Nimpo drop here. You more times than not. Now, I'm not saying I will get one, and in fact, I didn't get one there, but that was pretty infrequent right there. And you'll notice that on this fourth guy here, I like to delimb him, and then, oh, I know what happened here. I got the Nimpo drop here. Ordinarily, if that were a blue or a yellow essence, I would charge and attack and take care of that mage who comes out first. The mages are very deadly, because just like the gray ninjas, they're very fast, and Momiji, she's pretty slow. I've got to admit, she's very slow. So look at her Nimpo is so destructive, though. It's very powerful, and fortunately, the Tengu brother, who we're gonna fight, as well as when we fight 2 of them in the boss battle for this level, they're very weak against that particular magic of hers. So it takes away a good chunk of their life. So it's only possible also to have 5 flames, to have 5 uses of the Nimpo, because it's very easy to collect 3 flame keys, 3 keys in your flame gauge or whatever it's called, but you'll never have enough money to buy more than 1 Devil's Way mushroom. So here comes the first guy. What I like to do is just do forward Y, just do a quick forward Y attack on this guy, and it'll knock him back or he'll block it. And you could also chain it several times if you want to risk it, but I don't, because there's no checkpoint here. So pretty much I'm just keeping my guard up. What he does is he'll fly up, fly down, and then stomp, and you could block it. It breaks your guard, but it doesn't wound you. So I just do those forward chops, keep evading, and when he does his combo, I don't want to get caught in his combo. So even his combo attacks, I don't even block them, because some of them, like that final one, occasionally will grab you and it'll fling you up with whatever weapon he has. I'm not sure what it is. I don't even know what the hell these guys are. They're some kind of warlocks or something, but they're very dangerous. And we could practice him a bit more once we get to the final confrontation with him. But you see, I'm getting pretty heavily beaten up on right now, or so it would seem. It did not take too much damage, admittedly. So they also throw a series of 3 flaming shurikens, which you can block. So you can mess around with combos and stuff like that, but all I like to do is just do forward Y. And if you're doing it to the point where she's going with a combo, you're gonna have to like restart the level. Ooh, that was a bad hit right there. But there's no way in hell that I was gonna heal right here, because I need all the healing items for the final the final 2 confrontations. What I was saying a minute ago is if you need to practice pressing forward Y and getting into the groove of just doing a clean, fast swipe, just start the level over, and there's no enemies at first, so you could practice. So this guy is almost dead. It's just very nerve-wracking with no checkpoint to fall back on. And as you saw right there, he tried to grab. Once again, he tried to grab. Unfortunately, if they grab you, it's game over. And I've always disagreed with that, but you have to get good at this, or you have to keep restarting. And I've got to say, I'm as many times as I've played this, I'm a veteran, I would consider myself, just because I've played it and I've tried to beat this guy so many times, dozens of times, maybe 100 times. Tried to beat that guy. Not in this session here, but over the past couple of years since I've owned this game, and it's maybe 1 out of 20 I get a win. It's very tough. But I think the more, if I was able to practice that guy more, I would get a lot more proficient at him. So there's the save point right there. Now we're going to go in here and fight 2 yellow Van Gelfs, who are very easy to slay. So I don't really mess around with the XXY type of combo. I mainly just do her rectangle, or not, the square. What am I thinking? Getting my shapes wrong this morning. But there's a item. Grab every item in the stage. They're all very worth it, and they're all going to save you. So we're going to come down here now, and what I did was I actually saved it after that gold Van Gelf fight, because this fight down here is hit or miss as well. So she could do the guillotine throw. She also has an Azuna drop, which is pretty weak, and I probably demonstrated it a couple times here. But you'll notice that I have 2 flames in my key gauge. My goal here is to get another flame in my key gauge. I have 1 Devil's Way mushroom that I picked up from that treasure box, and there's another one coming up. So the reason I said that you cannot have 6 uses of the key is because the price for 1 is 4,000. So, see, there's a drop right there. The price for 1 is 4,000. So if you were to possibly get, I mean, it could. I imagine it was possible if you did UTs on every single enemy in this level, and that would also require you to not use any magic unless you were getting magic drops to compensate for any that you've used. So you would have to collect up $8,000, 8,000 essence to get 2 Devil's Way mushrooms. When I got to the store, I think I had like just barely over 4,000, so that I could purchase 1. And this time around, I'm also not going to be doing the door glitch that I implemented the past 2 times I've done this guy, because, like I said before, I'm not taking any shortcuts. I'm fighting all the battles in this game, and I'm not cutting any corners this time around in this campaign. I'm doing it the legitimate way, the way the game was intended, even though the way that it was made here is damn challenging, because this character, let's face it, every time you're not Ryu, you just wish you were, because he's a lot faster. We're all more familiar with his moves. It just feels like we're a lot less capable when we're fighting as these female characters, and it's a shame, but they're in the game and we have to get good with them or we won't be able to succeed. So if you do want to bypass the wave of enemies before the boss fight, you will want to consult my other 2 guides on my playlists. I do it both times, and it's just a way of skipping a fight, but I thought it would be unsurmountably hard, or I guess it would be insurmountably hard, but it really wasn't. And the reason was, back then when I was doing these guys, I just wasn't as skilled as I am now. So you just have to keep playing. That's all I can say. Keep playing and keep learning the game, learning how to delim enemies. Her weapon has a very high delim rate, so you don't have to do much work with her, which is one of the nice things about her. So this is going to be the final guy right here. So in my inventory, I do have one Devil's Way Mushroom, and what is it? This is a Grains of Spiritual Life. So I'm going to look at my inventory right now real quick. I think I pull it up over here somewhere, but I believe I will have I will have all the healing items maxed out. Yeah, I have all the healing items maxed out, and I have 2 Devil's Way Mushrooms. Okay, I didn't know that. I guess I just contradicted myself, didn't I? Because maybe I do have enough to have 3. No, I still only have 2. Yeah, I guess I didn't get a pickup for one of those Devil's Way Mushrooms. But from here on out, there's absolutely no point of earning money, so don't really go for OTs unless you're doing them to save your life, like I'm doing here. It would be nice if you can go back to the door after having done these battles and buy more stuff. That would definitely enable a person to get more Devil's Way Mushrooms. But basically, I would use the Devil's Way Mushrooms as a quote-unquote out on the bosses, just to take off a large chunk of each one of their lives, and it works pretty well. And this is actually the first time I've ever done the battle before the bosses, and I had to use one magic, so when I got to the bosses, I had 4 uses of the magic. So right here, I knew 2 IS ninjas were going to drop down, and they really slashed at me here. What I normally do is try to delim one, try to OT one, and charge an attack. But as you can observe here, their incendiary shurikens cancel out your charges if you do build up a charge. So this is a really close call, and it was just sheer stubbornness that was preventing me from healing, because I knew I would need every healing item for the coming battles. So what I'm doing is just very, very madly tossing arrows at these guys here, and trying to get the upper hand in these fights here, even though these guys are all... See, I'm at the point of death, but I'm going to OT this guy, then I'm going to run to the save point, and on my way back, I'm just going to toss arrows. And it looked like just 1 arrow killed him, or 2 arrows. So that was... You know, you're going to get a lot of those close calls, and you're just going to have to be thankful that you put in the practice. So here's the next battle up ahead. And I think it starts out fairly innocuous. I mean, we do have 1 archer up there, so you may want to prioritize him. Her Azuna drop is a little different from Ryu's. See, that's why I've been missing some of them. You could also start a UT in the air, but that's a little bit too wild for what I like to do. I like to stay grounded. I like to stay protected and ready for anything I need to do on the ground, and I don't really mess about in the air. So there's her Azuna drop. You would expect an Azuna drop to, if not kill someone, then to at least delim them, but sometimes it doesn't even delim them. So mainly I'm looking for guillotine throws, to like that, just to get out of a corner, and charging attacks. And I think we also have a couple of mages too, and that's the point where I decided to cast an Impo. Because even as Ryu, the mages they're fairly tough. I mean, they have very little HP, but their magic attacks, if they hit you, you're dead. So that's the scary thing about those guys. But yet again, we're a less capable player, in my opinion. Ayane. So once this wave is done, we'll have a couple of Vangelfs, and that'll be the end of it. And then we will finally get a checkpoint before the two bosses. And it's one of the more intimidating boss fights in this game. And I have to admit, I'm getting a lot better at it. So there is no checkpoint until you get to the boss. So you are going to have to take care of these guys here. Okay, I had one guy left right here. And I decided to use arrows to see if I can get some essence, some blue essence that is, but I didn't get any. So let's see if this UT kills this guy. No, it just delimbed him, but that's good enough for me because an ET would not even delimb him. So what you have to do is, you know, circle around the environment, watch out for their flames, and if you die, you don't lose much progress because we do have a save point right outside the gate, so it's not the end of the world. But I have gotten so close to killing the bosses so many times. There was one time when, I might even post a video on my other channel, I had a sliver of one of these guys' life left and I screwed up, or it might not even have been me, it might have been like one of these kind of situations where I got boxed into a corner or they just grabbed me. You have to have really fast reflexes here, but if you're playing this game, I imagine you do have fast reflexes. So I have to admit that as crummy as the camera is, a lot of the times in these Ninja Gaiden games, they're kind of notorious for having bad camera angles, but this really works well because you could swap who you target by pressing the R1 button, and there really is no incentive as to who you want to target first, or whom you want to deal with first, I should say. They're both the same enemy, they're just skinned differently. One's red, one's blue. I would focus. I mean, if you've got one guy at a point where his health is a lot lower than the other guys, then I would definitely focus on that guy, because once one guy is dead, it'll drop health. Plus, it's exponentially less stressful when there's only one guy left. But these guys are very intimidating, so you basically just want to keep your guard up, and as they skulk towards you, if they're doing their combos, do the reverse wind constantly, and when that's pretty much all I'm looking for, is them to jump up in the air and jump down like right next to me, so I can do the forward triangle and then back off, do it again, and try to get into a chain if they get into it, if they allow me to. I think if you knock them back with the forward triangle and they wince, you could do it more than once. Otherwise, don't push it. So here's the Nimpo. Look how destructive her Nimpo is on these guys. Imagine having 6 uses of it, but I only had 4 here. So another thing to beware here is, make sure when you're fighting one of them, make sure you're not fighting too close to the other one, because sometimes, and it really isn't fair, the other guy might grab you. You also notice that the area of effect attack they do, that it can be simply avoided by moving out of the way. You do have to get fairly far away from it when it comes, but for the longest time, like, the main issue is just getting grabbed here. I can survive pretty well. It's just getting grabbed. But as long as you're keeping your wits about you, you're sharp in your game, and you realize that they could grab at any second, and you need to back off at any second, you're going to be okay. And I just would not mess around with blocking their attacks. I just avoid everything of theirs. And if I can't see the other guy, I quickly press R1 to verify where the other guy is located. If I'm in a jam, I drop Nimpo. If I'm in a corner, I just get out of the way and make myself get into a better position to where one guy is as far away as I can get him. So this blue guy is almost going to get killed here. I need to adjust my camera, and the red guy's in the background, so this is a good setup for me. Just avoiding all his attacks, waiting for him to fly up, fly down, forward triangle, forward triangle. See, I did it twice there. You could do it up to like 4 or 5 times sometimes. So I'm going to use a heal right here. And occasionally the other guy will toss those shurikens at you, but it's not that bad. I mean, just get out of the way of this kind of thing. It does take away a lot of damage, but they give you a lot of telegraphing of that move. So here you go. I'm going to back off, forward triangle. He's dead. I'm going to grab the healing item. I really also wouldn't when you get the blue essence drop, I wouldn't mess around with charging a UT off that, simply because it does work to UT these guys occasionally, but they love to block it, and to recover means you'll have to take a risk. Also, these lampposts, I wish they were destructible so I can get them out of the way. They do mess me up occasionally, but it's just a tense fight. It's probably one of the tensest and terrifying fights I've done in recent Ninja Gaiden games. But the more you do it, the less scary it becomes, because you pretty much know what you have to do. You just got to get the job done and not screw up. Pretty much, one screw up means the end of the fight, and that's really the regrettable thing to me about this fight. And the first Tengu we encountered without that checkpoint, it's really bad. So at this point, I'm not taking any chances, because, as I mentioned before, I had one of these guys. I don't know which color one it was. I had a sliver of life. I could barely see how much life he had left, and something happened. Something disastrous happened, and I had to restart. But that just only made me a better player, and it's gonna be the same way for you. Because these guys will just rob you of your confidence with that stone-hearted glance that they do, that glare, the warlock glare. It's at least there's enough room to move around in. There's ample room, and the camera works great. It's just a matter of conserving all your items, having enough healing items here, having your Nimpo ready to cast, and just do not take any chances here. Because as skilled as you can be, you don't want to be reckless. So there's the end of the battle. I'll see you guys in Chapter 6.